Talk Radio, you're in to all things music.
The normal kid today, if they look at their iPhone, I got some Gaga, I got some Beyonce, I got a little Maroon 5, and what else? I was talking to a tech executive yesterday about their app that they're releasing, and they're talking to me about being a curator for this app. And on the app, they had, pop, rock, R&B. There wasn't even a jazz icon. There wasn't even a funk icon. It's like, did you not ever hear of Stevie Wonder? Did you forget that Sly Stone existed? What about Herbie Hancock? We're not even going to talk about that?
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Everybody, welcome to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by the Inner Talk Radio Network. Hey guys, it's a beautiful Friday. April, can you believe it already? The 21st. This year's blowing by, man. But what's not going to blow by today without having you just immensely educated is my in-studio guest. As I've said this many times over the past year, I know a lot of the people that I'm interviewing I've known for 20 to 40 years, and not to age ourselves. But then again, too, I get really excited also when I know of an entertainer that I don't know personally, but has deep roots with friends of mine or friends that we share together. In fact, the in-studio guest today, we just talked a little bit right before we came on the air about getting older. And the gentlemen that we know and the women that we know in this industry, we know we're older because their babies now are singing in the forefront when we used to hold them in our arms. So with that said, we're going to get deep into this. We're going to talk more. We're going to educate on Jackie's Groove. Again, please welcome with open arms and open ears my in-studio guest, Mr. Shele Sondheim. Shele, welcome to the show, my brother.
Oh, Jackie, brother, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, man. It's, as I said earlier, in fact, I had a couple people ask me, is this part of the Sondheim family? So I've got to ask that question for a listener. Is there a relationship between Shele Sondheim and the Sondheim family?
Well, I can't be out there in the world with a Sondheim name and not be a Sondheim family. So in the broad
elaborate.
We're broad sense, we're going to say yes, and that's all factual. I think the specific question you might be asking is Shele Sondheim related to the famous Broadway icon Stephen Sondheim? Is that what we're talking about?
That's the question, brother.
All right. Well, Steve says yes. I don't think so, but he says yes. He's a gentleman. I started writing Steve when I was in college in Boston at Berklee College of Music, and I'll be very candid with you, Jackie. Musical theater has not really been my Jackie's Groove. I mean, I was a Tower of Power, Cold Blood, Santana, Jimi Hendrix guy, so I didn't know too much about musical theater. But when I went to Berklee College of Music, I was asked the same question you just asked me. Well, how are you related to Stephen? And I thought, how am I related to Stephen? So I found him, started writing to him, and he said, well, as far as I'm concerned, we're related. I'm Stephen Joshua Sondheim. You're Sheldon Joseph Sondheim. We can use each other's cufflinks and luggage if you'd like, SJS.
I love it.
Ever since then, he's been just a mensch and a gentleman, a phone call and a card away. Always returns the cards, always returns the questions. Very inspiring guy. And, of course, as you well know, has won every award that has ever been listed in the history of musical genius. But I do want to tell you, there are some other famous Sondheims. There really are.
Please.
There's a fellow named Bill Sondheim, who many in the industry know, coming as the senior vice president of Sony Music, Guyam, now the president of Universal Vivendi Distribution. Bill is a major, major player at the MIPCOM and the Cannes Film Festival, and everybody knows who Bill Sondheim is. And I got to put a plug in for my pop. He might be listening today. I'm not really sure. He's on the tennis court, but I got that
God bless him.
Yeah, who's been a great mentor to me. I've got a brother, Ben Sondheim, who got me into music. So, there's quite a few of us. So I do have to. I have some big shoes to fill. That's for sure.
And there's only there's a very small handful of Bertonis out there. The name looks like Bertone, and my legacy doesn't come from the side of music. It either comes from the Archbishop in the Catholic Church, Bruno Bertoni. The
Amazing.
great orchestra leader also, too, as I meant to say Bruno Bertoni. And then, of course, Nuccio Bertoni, who's famous for all of his designs with Pininfarina and, Ferrari, Lamborghini, and the like. So that's where that sound of an exhaust is it could be equivalent to the sound of music. So with that said, and you just mentioned something a second ago. You said, you grew up in the vein of not so much in musical theater, but you mentioned a group that I started my professional career with. And the group is called Tower of Power. In fact, when I walked on stage with them, my friend, in December 17th, 1979 is where this crazy roller coaster of my life started. And what a group to start out with. Would you agree or disagree?
Oh, I mean, not only agree, it's part of the DNA and in my body and the marrow in my bones. I mean, I was seeing Tower of Power when I was fortunate to live in the Bay Area for a brief year in high school. Of course, I was into Tower. I was into Tower when I lived, junior high school and high school. But there was a year that I lived up in Millbrae, a year and a half. My father's in the television business, and we moved quite a bit. And there was a short period of time where we moved from L.A. up to the Bay Area. And Tower was like playing at our prom, on a Friday night. Winterland. Tower opened up every act that ever happened at Winterland on Friday and Saturday night. And I was there every Friday and Saturday night. And so, got to so into Tower Power, Cold Blood, that kind of Bay Area funk fusion. It's amazing to me to know that you started your career and played with these geniuses. And later in life, I would have the great privilege of traveling on the road with Francis Rocco Presti.
Presti, yeah, my baby. And he's actually, his health has got...
Is he alive?
This man has got 18 lives.
Oh my gosh! I mean, there's really nobody like him. He's such an icon, and he's such a magnificent master of his craft. And for a little break in his career from Tower, he got into show business, and we were working in show business. And he went on tour with us with the Lola Falana band. I'm telling you, it was really, really just out of this world to have Rocco in the rhythm section.
And when you bring up Lola Falana, that is our 6 degrees of separation between your friend and my dear friend, or your dear friend and my dear friend, Wilfredo Reyes Jr. We'll talk more about that as we go along. Also, for all the time that he played with her. And also, Shele, I wanted to tell you, I did speak last week to David Garibaldi. And
he's doing all right?
He's doing wonderful, man. He's definitely on the mend. For the listeners out there, David Garibaldi and Mark VW were struck by an Amtrak train, as is probably old news, about 4 months ago. Mark is definitely, he's out of the woods. He's doing really, really well. And David should be back on the throne with Tower momentarily. I'm not at liberty to tell you when, but right now on the drum throne is my dear friend of mine. And coming up soon is Mr. Herman Matthews, another person I'm sure Shele is no stranger to. So, and and Shele, with that said, when you use the word Tower, you're a Tower Power fan when you use the word Tower. We all know that situation, and based upon that was, again, you said the DNA when you have that situation, but as well as I do, you could get branded on both sides, my friend, and meaning the fact that if you are known for musical theater, people are a little bit shy of hiring you because of the, what's the word I can use? The prima donna-ish ways that can carry along with that term. And also, too, something, Shele, that I found, which was really a bitch growing up and getting out of Tower, was people were afraid to hire me because they kind of viewed me as the good-looking girl in high school. Nobody wanted to ask out because they already figured she had a date. So when you come from the school of Tower, it's a musician's band.
It's like being in Santana's band.
Absolutely. And with that, let's step back for a second, Shele. I just want to know, and want the listeners out there to know, let's step back to the wee days when you were brought into this earth and brought into this world itself. Talk to me, talk to the listeners. When were you born? Where were you born? And as I always say with tongue in cheek, did you ever grow up?
I'm still a work in progress, and I'm just starting to grow. But Thank you for the interest in my life in that way. The music came in somewhere around junior high school. I used to play the sports, play tennis. My dad was a tennis trainer and was very involved in the whole tennis world. So he got me to playing really good and competitive tennis and that sort of stuff. But then I met the guitar, and the guitar really changed my life. I was also fortunate to have an older brother, and the older brother, my brother Ben, very into music and very into the CTI jazz and Mahavishnu Orchestra and George Benson and Freddie Hubbard and the Bitches Brew and all of this kind of, along with the Motown and the funk and this sort of stuff. So I had an older brother that was just shoving those records down my throat. And so at a very early age, I had known about George Benson and Freddie Hubbard and Airto and the whole CTI thing and the ECM jazz and it was really a fantastic chance to sort of elevate out of what I guess a normal kid today if they look at their iPhone, I got some Gaga, I got some Beyonce, I got a little Maroon 5, and what else? Not that young people are so shallow, but I'm saying there's a very pigeonholed, as you talked about, presentation of what music is about today. But just share this. I was talking to a tech executive yesterday about their app that they're releasing, and they're talking to me about being a curator for this app. And on the app, they had pop, rock, R&B. There wasn't even a jazz icon. There wasn't even a funk icon. It's like, did you not ever hear of Stevie Wonder? Did you forget that Sly Stone existed? What about Herbie Hancock? We're not even going to talk about that. So, I was I guess what I'm trying to say is I was very fortunate in growing up with a wide array of music to listen to. And of course, the rockers and Bowie and Mott the Hoople and Slade. And I think where it really crystallized for me, Jackie, is that, again, I'll take you back to this Bay Area time, because there was a lot of stuff going on in L.A. Brian Auger, we'd kind of sneak into the Palladium or the Whiskey Go-Go. Stardust, I think was the name of the place, or Starbright.
Stardust.
Stardust, okay. So, but when I went up to the Bay Area, it's one of those things where you're new and you're kind of a geek in junior high and high school and you don't have any friends. My dad had a friend who was connected to Bill Graham's organization in the Winterland. So my dad, being my dad, schmoozing the thing, helped me to get tickets to Winterland every Friday and Saturday night. So for the good part of a year, that's where I was. And that whole Bay Area explosion of music, Santana, Malo, Grateful Dead, Tower, Bloomfield, Butterfield, Bishop, all of these Bay Area, killers was my food every Friday and Saturday night.
And just to see that thing emblazoned on top of the marquee that said Bill Graham presents, it was going to be crazy.
Oh, and I mean, going to Winterland every Friday, Saturday night, that was just that was a lesson in and of itself. And I also had some very, very wonderful teachers. I know we're going to talk about that in the next segment, but teachers and mentors and, idols, I'll call them idols, started to come into my life, some of the guitar players.
Shele, you brought up a good point now. You're talking about your father being a tennis player and so on, but let's step back, in that same part about growing up the Sondheim household. As I always use this I draw a little bit of a picture here, and I always say if I was walking down the street of the Sondheim family, and I come up to your door and I knock on that front door itself, and the door opens up and you welcome me in, what am I going to be hearing blazing through those console speakers that is attached to a TV and a 33 thing called a turntable? What was coming out of those speakers?
Well, you're going to hear some James Brown, you're going to hear some jazz, you're going to hear some blues, and you're going to hear the hip music. I mean, you're not going to hear the hokey stuff. That's okay. What I can assure you you're not going to hear. I don't know exactly what will be on in the moment that you knock on the door, but I'll probably have an afro, a pick in my thing. At that time, I was probably smoking cigarettes, so I got a pack of Marlboros in my hand. Glad I don't do that anymore. But that's probably what you're going to see when you come over, and maybe a wah-wah near my foot.
Yeah. And I'm cracking up right now because you just drew a perfect picture, because me being the consummate Italian Armenian, you being of your nationality.
Jewish turned Buddhist.
And the whole fact about it, when you had that Jew fro going on, I had the Italian fro going on. In fact, for the listeners out there that are old enough, there was a great series on TV. I think it was on ABC was called Room 222. And the redheaded ginger on that, he had a fro that rivaled most of the brothers and sisters on Soul Train. That's what I had. That was my hair, brother.
I could out-fro you on any given day.
Yeah, I'll beg to differ with you, my friend. In fact, you know what? I'll tell you what. I will agree with you on one thing because my dear friend growing up.
We'll post the pictures on Facebook and we'll let the audience decide.
We'll share that offline. Trust me. But I learned a lesson, and I learned a lesson that Italian hair, Jewish hair, is much different than that of African American hair, and so I wanted my fro to get bigger. So I got the stuff that I heard on Channel 11 on a show called Soul Train, and it was called the Afro Sheen Blowout Kit.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I went and bought it.
I got one in my bathroom right now. I'm still using
it. I bought it at Stater Brothers. Listen to me, Brother Shele. I bought it at Stater Brothers. I couldn't wait to get home. Got out of the shower. I put this goop in my hair, and then all of a sudden, it was right as rain. A half hour later, I smelt burning hair. Well, I didn't realize the fact that it had lye in it, and I took this gorgeous mane, this hair, and watched it fall out the top of my head while my mother was looking at me and just shaking her head in absolutely utter disbelief. So that is my step into the fro, no fro situation. So, and we'll talk about that. But you just brought it up. Shame on you for bringing that up. You know, and now when you talked about your family members itself, are there any other siblings in the Sondheim household that are musicians?
Well, I think everybody's living their music dreams through my career, actually. My brother decided to move into his professional work. He studied to be a lawyer and then moved into a government position. My father continued his television career and retired into a very nice lifestyle that he lives today. You know, Bill Sondheim, as I mentioned, is a serious industry player, and he's been a big inspiration to me and a wonderful friend. But I think as far as the people who are still actually jamming on A minor for at least an hour are like you and me. I'm probably the one that's doing it. And everybody's living it through me. They're living the dream through me.
You know, and Brother Shele, I'm looking at this red light flashing right now, and I'm only saying that because I'm not going to ask a question that's going to require a 5-minute answer when I have 30 seconds to ask it. So I'm going to so abruptly be rude right now and interject and tell you that we're going to be falling out of segment number 1. You see how fast it blew by. And we're going to be going into segment number 2. There's so much more to talk about. As I said offline, the show has got my name on it, but my friend, this is your interview. This is your day. So you talk about anything and everything you want to talk about. I'm all ears. Usually I'm all mouth. Today I want to be all ears because I'm finding this to be very, very, very exciting. So with that said, you guys don't go anywhere. This is Jackie Bertoni. You're tuned into Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the infamous Intertalk Radio Network. You're into all things music. And with that said, we'll be right back after the short break with my in-studio guest. It feels like a brother from another mother, a true mensch in the lack of a better word itself. Yes, Shele, I am a lawnsman also, even though I'm Italian-Armenian. So we'll talk about being a lawnsman also. So you guys don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the short break. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss a thing. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Hey everybody, welcome back to segment number 2. This is Jackie's Groove, or after that song, should I call it Jackie's Swing Groove? And brought to you by the Intertalk Radio Network. This is Jackie Bertoni. Guys, and I'm having a great time, man, with my new old friend, and we'll talk more about that adage itself. But Mr. Shele Sondheim, Shele, welcome back to this interesting. We're chopping up even offline, but we talked about some really, really cool things. And for the listeners out there, and we're going to go back to the trajectory of the show. But shame on you, Shele, for bringing up old news. When I'm saying about old news, about the friends that we have in common, you know, and the sad thing about is all the great clubs in L.A. that have gone by the wayside. Let's go over them for a second, Shele. Lee Cafe.
Well, you know, Jackie, it's. I think when you have the kind of investment that both you and I and many of the folks that we've talked about, a lifetime investment into getting better and jamming with people and communication through music and lifestyle and whatnot. You know, we meet in these clubs and we meet in these jam sessions and we meet in these recording studios and we meet on these professional gigs. You know, sometimes it's interesting to go to a gig and you don't know you don't know who's going to be there, and you get there and it's like all your old friends. It's rather amazing. But we were just talking on the break about many of the places, La Valie and Josefina's and Cafe Cordial. I think we forgot about the place a little bit further down Ventura called Le Cafe.
Of course.
Like the first day that I came to Los Angeles after relocating after Vegas, I walked in and down at the bottom, you know, waiting to go up and jam Lee Ritenour. I almost fainted right there. Lee Ritenour standing right there, you know.
And not only that, but if you talk about Lee Cafe, here's a little thing. Now, I understand I used to be 400 pounds back in the day. I've lost 200 pounds or what? Yeah, 400, brother. And me and Greg Matheson would walk into an all-you-can-eat buffet, and people would freak out. And Greg, if you're listening to that situation, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But the part I'm talking about on Lee Cafe, do you remember those frigging stairs that you can only load your equipment in from the parking lot?
Of
you had
course.
To go up
I carried Walfredo's drums up there. I carried all people's amps up there.
You know, and Bon Appetit, remember that in Westlake? I mean, that was the most, excuse me, strike that, UCLA area. Westwood, that's the word.
Okay. Yeah, Westwood.
And so on, you know, and then we talked about, let's go back here for a second. We talked about a mutual friend that I love. I've known for years. I've known since 1991. An amazing keyboardist / motivational speaker. And that gentleman's name is Freddie Revelle.
One and only Freddie Revelle.
The one and only Freddie Revelle. Tell me about your history and how far back you and Freddie go.
Well, I love Freddie. I mean, as a human being, as a motivator, as a mentor, and as a leader. He's a leader in life, and somebody whose smile can encourage me before he even has something to say. I can't speak well enough about Freddie, but I have a funny story that I like to share about Freddie and Kenny James, who Freddie was Kenny James' music director and musical buddy. So we're in Las Vegas. We're talking about clubs here, you and I. And so at that time, I was starting to get a little bit of a name because of Walfredo Reyes, who got me my first job with Lola Falana. And we started to conquer the town with our rhythm section. And we were doing something called the Dunes Showcase. This was at the top of the Dunes. And we were running it. We were the house band, and we would audition singers. And it was very much like the kind of stuff that you see on television today with Idol and The Voice and X Factor, but in a smaller Las Vegas cabaret lounge setting, okay? And in comes and the winner of whoever won the audition would get a couple weeks paid at the Dunes. So in comes this very, good-looking, gorgeous, kind of Al Jarreau-ish, Gino Vanelli-ish, John Lucian kind of looking guy, who's obviously the singer. And here comes this other guy with him, who's obviously the music director. And they play, and they're unbelievable. I mean, they're just absolutely unbelievable. And I'm talking early 80s, so they were that unbelievable then. We're 35 years later, and they're both amazing now. So they're so unbelievable that I was in charge of choosing who the winner is. And I don't know if these were the exact words, but it was something like this, Jackie. I said, Freddie, there's no way possible you're ever going to get hired here. And he's shattered.
Really?
Why? Thinking that he's like not good enough. I said, you're just too good. I won't let you come here to Vegas. No way. This is a lounge in Vegas. Go back to LA. So they didn't get the gig.
You just recently saw him too. Is that correct?
Yeah, we went and saw he and Wilfredo were playing at the Herb Albert's Vivato Jazz Grill. It was a funny thing coming from Boston and Berkeley and that kind of mentality into Las Vegas. In that I had to learn how to function in show business, not play the major sevens, not play the funky odd times, not play the John McLaughlin licks in between the entertainers, New York,
right.
show. You kind of had to unlearn about 90% of what you knew in order to function with the triad and the simple groove. And so that was the joking message to Freddie and to Kenny James. They were better than what was going on, let's say, at that time in the lounges. And I didn't want them to suffocate in that way. There's great music in the lounges, so please don't think in any way that any disrespect about this. Great singers like Clint Holmes and so many of my friends are still functioning and working in Las Vegas and just killing it, absolutely killing it.
And by the way, Clint's coming up also, so we got our fingers crossed. We're trying to get that keyed in right now. He's
amazing. There was a woman named Loretta Holloway. There was Denise Clemente. There's Santa Fe. I don't know if you remember. We were talking about Tower of Power. Santa Fe is
brother. Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns. Jerry Lopez. I'm with them on. I go out there on Mondays. On Mondays, my wife traveled Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're there every Monday. Now they're back at the Palms at the
highest level
Palms
of
Hotel.
musicianship.
Yeah, and
musicianship.
For those of you who haven't got a chance, if you're going to go out in Vegas and on Monday, all the showrooms are dark. And then so this consortium of 15 musicians headed up by Jerry Lopez called Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns in the Las Vegas Times Sun magazine or Sun newspaper, whatever it was, the publication was. They described Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns as Tower of Power on crack. And when you go see Santa Fe, you will see Rocco sitting in. You will see the Luminaries up there. Anybody's. It's playing with that. You mentioned someone like Kenny James. Can you imagine just the pearly whites with Kenny and Freddie Revelle on stage when they both smile? I mean, Kenny had one of the most infectious.
And Kenny, I believe, is the star of the cruise lines. I don't know the exact names of the ones that he's doing, but I know that he's built a tremendous career entertaining audiences all around the world as a resort entertainer and celebrity. I mean, he's grown so much. And it's so fun to see, it's so fun to see this kind of development. I also want to share with you, I was talking with a friend in Boston yesterday. You played a little bit of a straight-ahead jazz song. I gave you a couple different kind of clips. We're going to move into some more commercial music, some stuff that's a little bit more to the sound. But that swing had a keyboard player who's just a dear friend named Steve Hunt. Steve Hunt is he's one of the instructors at Berklee College of Music, but Steve is a jazz fusion legend. And his most active work was with Alan Holdsworth, and apparently, Alan has passed away, and we've got
70 years old.
And so I was just communicating with Steve 2 days ago about his tremendous contribution. Steve has on his Facebook page a tribute to Alan Holdsworth, and he's just did so much amazing stuff. But Steve was the original keyboard player in my jazz fusion band called Catharsis, and that was Steve on keyboards.
Great name, by the way.
Catharsis?
Yes. Very, very, very heavy. You just brought something out here, brother. Having a drink of coffee here. You mentioned Alan Holdsworth. I had the pleasure, or / unpleasure, let me elaborate on that, with playing with Alan Holdsworth, a friend of mine by the name of Chad Wackerman.
Of course.
I say that, and one of the greatest drummers in the industry. He asked me, he says, hey, we're playing at a place called Hamptons in Santa Ana. Talking about you, and Alan said, hey, why don't you bring him in and see if he wants to play some percussion with us? I so chose to do so. Okay, now, let me tell the non-musicians out there how my day went with Alan Holdsworth. Alan's music made Frank Zappa's seem like a straight groove. And what I mean by that, you had to have an abacus up there because the tempo changes. Now, I'm playing and I've got a full rig because back then when we were younger, we used to bring more rig than we needed. I definitely brought more. I'm looking to the side of me, my left-hand side, through my toy rack, and I see Mr. Wackerman laughing his ass off because he knows I'm struggling. Struggling to the fact of when you remember, let's step back for a second, when you were a kid and you rode your bicycle on the sidewalk, but you're trying to keep the tire from going in between the grass and the sidewalk, that steering, the handlebars that were shaking like crazy. Okay. Yeah. I am not a normal person who sweats other than the back of my neck. Shele, I had sweat in my shoes. And that was the first time, last time I will ever, and God rest your soul, Mr. Holdsworth, we lost him last week at the age of 70 years old. That was education I don't ever want to get again, Shele. And you know what I'm talking about.
I do, but, I think that the kind of education, the kind of chops that you have, Jackie, and then we talk about Wilfredo, you're saying Chad Wackerman, even on that very first song when you opened up our interview, there's a wonderful friend of mine, Marty Zevin, who left Berkeley to come play with Zappa. He and Steve Vai and Randy Coven set out from Berkeley to come be Zappa's rhythm section. I had the great good fortune of either having roommates or best friends as drummers through my whole entire Berkeley career, through my junior high school and high school jamming, and through my professional life. That's why I say, I speak in terms of a best friend, Wilfredo Reyes, master of everything. But I learned from drummers about how to groove. I like Jackie's Groove. I like the name of that show.
Thank you.
And I think that you've got to have so many skills to function in the music industry, but I really believe that you have to have groove. If you don't have groove, well, I don't think there's much of a chance.
And let's separate the word groove from the word chops, because to me, in my personal opinion, they're great difference. Remember, I don't know if you knew this old saying, but we used to laugh about this all the time. In fact, I learned this from Michael McDonald years ago and Henry Capono, and the joke was that cat's got a lot of chops. The good news is he's got a lot of chops. The bad news is he's got a lot of chops. And everybody laughs at that, but it's true though, because there's a difference about laying that quintessential groove, a groove so deep that Shele Sondheim has to get a ladder to get out of it.
Yes,
and that's something that's
such a truth that you're talking about. And I think there's probably one more word that comes along with this slang that we're talking about. I learned so well as a session musician and touring musician, but primarily as a session musician from the great teachers I had. That were in studio, that were the producers or were the engineers or were the really hot session cats. And you've got to be able to hang. Because you can have, like you say, chops, but if you have chops and you can't hang, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I remember Mimi told me years ago, Emilio Castillo, by the way, congratulations, my gentlemen friends out there. Tower Power is going on 50 years next year. Chicago just celebrated 50 years this year. And the gentleman we just spoke about, aforementioned Mr. Wilfredo Reyes, let's stick away that he's not playing drums. he's on the percussion throne with Chicago, along with Mr. Trisimbo. And it's funny you say you've had all these friends as drummers. How in the hell did you stay sane having friends as drummers?
I learned how to play in 5 and 11 and 7.
I love it.
I learned about polyrhythms. I learned how to practice. These guys, this is the beautiful thing. Tommy Campbell, I'm talking about June Saito. I mean, we can just really start going down the list of these unbelievable. Smitty Smith goes on and on and on. The one thing that they all have in common, practice. They practice a lot. And I think that's how I stayed sane. They taught me how to practice. And, practice makes perfect. So, I think probably the worst thing is a bad drummer. A non-practicing, non-grooving, non-intuit drummer. I mean, some other people can kind of phone it in, maybe, from time to time. But the drummer, no possible way.
I mean, and we'll rename nameless on the people that we talked about. I've learned this, and we've all learned this, especially you coming from the School of Berklee. The greatest situation is not to be a busy player, and when in doubt, lay out. Less is more.
The silence that's right.
No, go ahead, please say it. The silence. The
silence of Miles Davis. The notes in between. That guidance that he gave to Herbie Hancock about playing the butter notes.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I hate to use the old adage and sound old, but everything old hopefully will become new again.
You're mentioning Berklee, and I do want to chat just a little bit about that aspect of my life and the influence that Berklee College of Music had on me.
Let's save that for segment number 3, because we're coming out only a minute and a half. And when you talk about Shele Sondheim and his tenure over at School of Berklee School of Music, and along with our mutual friend, of course, Mr. Terry Woolman, there's 1,000 more things to talk about. We're going to need more than 2 hours, brother. You know that. Just you and I saying hi on the phone was a segment itself. So, I just want to know your feelings. I want to know what it was like for you to deal in session work and or live with the same people that we share in common with. You as a non-percussionist, and how you felt that groove was going, and what you learned, the stability and the values you learned at Berklee School of Music, things that are the children of today are lacking. And this is not a political soapbox, but it's the truth, unfortunately, in my personal opinion. So I want you to take some time when we go on this break right now, Shele, and write down some more pertinent information that you want to share with your listening audience and our listening audience worldwide. And let's educate. School is in, kids. There's no apple required at the end of Mr. Sondheim's desk. But the teacher will be back on segment number, can you believe it already? Segment number 3.
Thank you so much.
2-hour segment. Please.
Forward to exploring this together.
Out of a 2-hour segment, guys, we're going to go on to segment 3, coming out of segment number 2 with this gentleman by the name of Shele Sondheim. You know what? And I'm smiling right now. I've got a Freddie Ravel grin going on right now, brother. And and I thank you for this itself. So everybody, don't go anywhere. Stick around. Please don't go anywhere. I'm looking at a plethora of paperwork right now that Mr. Sondheim sent me, is why I'm stumbling on my words. It's edumacation, 101. So with that said, guys, don't go anywhere. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. My in-studio guest, the illustrious Mr. Shele Sondheim. Shele, don't go anywhere. Listeners, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back at the small break. Don't go anywhere.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tony Lindsay, lead vocalist with Santana, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertone.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertone.
Everybody, welcome back to segment number 3. This is Jackie Bertone, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. Hey, guys, for those of you who can't listen to our live broadcasts, do yourselves a favor and do us a favor by going on to iTunes or to Google Play and download our easy-to-use and easy-to-navigate application. 2 words, first being Intertalk, second being radio. You can take Jackie's Groove and the plethora of other shows on the road with you. Stream it, baby, when you can't listen to us live. And I'm going to tell you something. For those out there that aren't listening to me live right now, you'll hear this on the archive, but I have a new best friend. That gentleman's name is Shele Sondheim.
Hey, Jackie.
I've never talked. Yeah, brother. Hey, friend. And I say this because we share so much in common. But I want to know share with the listeners. Who did we just hear at the top of the set? That music right there, that all too short snippet.
Well, that was a little bit of first breaks and into show business and into the music industry. It was a number 1 single that we had called Wherever You Are. It was on Mesa Blue Moon Atlantic. The saxophone player was Tom Borton, and it was the first time that I learned about music publishing, and that's keeping the publishing. So that was my very first entry into having something that was on the charts, so to speak, and that was heard throughout the nation.
Who were the cats on that session right there? I love that. I want to hear about it. I'm going to give them a shout out. Who was on guitar and bass and such?
If I remember correctly, it was a song that I wrote with a good friend named Mitch Odom. Tom, of course, was on saxophone. He had a fusion band, and it varied people. But I do remember a great guitar player, friend of ours from Berkeley named Steve Recker, who I believe was playing on that session. I don't want to misquote the folks because that's disrespectful. So we have to do a little bit of archiving and research to figure out. But the song is called "Wherever You Are." It's Mesa Blue Moon, and that was really a fantastic opportunity that I got to have one of the tracks that I had written come out on the smooth jazz charts. And this was just when smooth jazz was starting to break. It was not really a huge.
I applaud you. I'm sorry, I lost you there. I said I applaud you. The anybody that can go into the word, unfortunately, the word smooth jazz has kind of fallen by the wayside. And the woman's voice that you hear on my bumper music, her name is Talia Teriguero. She's the on-air personality for 94.7 The Wave here in Los Angeles from 10 to 2. You know her well.
Absolutely.
And so with that, we want to break. Let's get back here to the crux of things. Shele, talk about your time and everything about Berkeley School of Music that was your influence, please.
Sure. Well, I'd love to, but I'd like to really broaden the topic, Jackie, to something that I think we both can relate to, and I hope that our audience listening can relate to, which really has to do with mentor-disciple. Let's really put this under the topic of mentor-disciple. You know, Berklee was transformative, but prior to Berklee, I had guitar teachers. Nick Kyrgo, who's an absolutely amazing musician, still functioning here in Los Angeles at the highest level. Jorge Strunz, when he first came to Los Angeles, before Caldera, before Strunz and Furrow, was my guitar teacher at the Bay Music, at the Eighth Note Music on Pico. So, you know, having an hour with Jorge Strunz as a ninth grader was pretty amazing for a year. I moved up to San Francisco, and I told you I'd gone back and forth to San Francisco a little bit, and went to San Francisco State and had a wonderful teacher named John Handy, alto legend John Handy. Charles Mingus and you know, this sort of thing, and he would take me to Archie Shepp and Cecil Taylor at the Keystone Corner, and he helped me and my parents and my family to understand that, look, you can play, you've got a groove, you got a feeling for this, but you don't know anything, so you need to study music. And I was failing miserably at San Francisco State. I'd go to class and they'd be teaching piston harmony and hindemith and classical voice leading. And I go back to my dorm room and put on Weather Report and Tower of Power and Herbie Hancock. So there was a real disconnect. So he said, there's this school in Boston. And I had some other teachers that were telling me there's a school in Boston called Berklee College of Music. And so I went one summer for a summer 2-weeker or a 5-weeker or something. And it was a lock. First class, we're going to analyze Squib Cakes, Tower of Power. Next class, all right, we're going to analyze the lyrics of James Taylor. You know, next class, and I just did not leave the building for 5 years. I don't think I slept more than 2 hours a day, and it just became my life. My parents were very gracious to pay for it at that time, of course, and maybe still, you know, rather costly to go. But I didn't know a sharp from a flat. I didn't know an anything. And there were just 17-year-olds working out giant steps, you know, playing through Scrapple from the Apple as fast as it could possibly be done in the practice rooms. And then I met those drummers. And so, you know, it was off to the races for 5 years, living at Berklee, digesting Berklee, starting my own fusion band called Catharsis, and we became the talk of the town. We were the first band that ever opened the Berklee Performance Center. We were at the Village Gate in New York. Our first manager was Patrick Raines, managing Al Jarreau. And we just became Berklee's staple. We played at all of the clubs there, and Berklee was just an amazing, amazing experience. So amazing, Jackie, that on the day I graduated, I left, and I moved to Vegas.
Wow,
you know,
what a polar opposite.
You know why? There's winter in Boston. There's winter in Boston, and there's summer in Vegas, and the pool. And the dancer girls and the casinos. And I thought, if I can't get a gig there, what was this Berklee for? So I moved to Las Vegas the day I graduated.
I mean, you think about, literally walking out of, what's the word I want to use? Organized genius to a conundrum of craziness in Vegas.
3 chords.
How did you separate the two?
I had the best teacher. We're back to mentor and disciple. First night I get there, you know, after settling in, thought, all right, I'm going to go to the top of the Strip. I'm going to go down to each of the hotels. I'm going to go in each of the lounges, and I'm going to, you know, take my axe and try and sit in. You know, that's what we do, right? We're musicians. We're out there looking for work. I go to the top of the Strip. The first casino is the Tropicana, and in the lounge it says playing, you know, Ralph Loveday and the 4 Flying Elephants with comedian Yakov Noy. I'm like, okay, all right, we're going to go check this one out. And I go in, and it's really very hokey, very, very corny. But there's this one guy on drums who is just killing it. And it's like, how do you kill it in such a corny show? You know, the elephants are flying around, the tubas are there, but this drummer is just amazing. And I go up to him, and after his break, and I say, hey, I just moved here from Boston. I graduated Berklee, and you know, I'd like to jam. He goes, well, my name is Walfredo Reyes. Why don't you come over to my house tomorrow and we jam in the garage with some of my friends? And the next day I showed up, and it's Alex Acuna It's Luis Conte, it's John Pena, it's Wilfredo Sr., it's Wally, and they're jamming. And I got welcomed into La Familia the first day. Absolutely. That's how I stuck in Vegas.
You know, and it's when you mention Wilfredo and the De Los Rios family, of all the years that I've had the blessings to know this. I don't know if you get a chance though, when you have a chance to breathe, Shele, go on to jackiesgroove.com and scroll down to episodes on demand. I had an amazing interview with Wilfredo Jr., but also I was blessed to have an interview with Wilfredo Sr.
Of course.
And that was absolutely amazing because Danny and Wally asked us if we would be so kind to interview his father because, as he said, when Dad's gone, so go the stories.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell the young cats in the industry itself, you know, to know where you're at now is you just got to have an ending or even a trajectory. You have to know where you came from and where the music came from.
Senior was the whip of everybody, and I had an opportunity besides Lola Falana playing with the other stars all through the doors of Wilfredo, Wayne Newton, Roy Clark, Flip Wilson, Paul Anka, Pointer Sisters, going on and on. And the opportunity that I had with Wayne Newton, of course, Wilfredo Sr. was his percussionist the entire run, you know, and I got a chance to replace or sit in for Jimmy Bruno, who had to leave for another obligation. And, you know, to be on the stage with Wilfredo Sr. and Adam was playing drums and Don Vincent and the big orchestra and the horns and, you know, those are masters of masters. I mean, you know, 8 o'clock showtime comes and they know what to do. And they took a young guy like me and helped show me what to do.
And that is so cool because you mentioned that because you mentioned a little while ago Paul Anka, or his real last name is Palanca. And I'm sure, and I hope you know a friend of ours, another brother that has gone way too soon. We lost about 6 years ago, a gentleman by the name of Tom Rohde, an amazing percussionist out of Nashville. And he was on that chair, that throne with Paul Anka for many, many years. And I don't know if you had a chance to meet him.
Joe DeBlasi, so many jazz fusion musicians. You know, this is what other people don't really understand is there's such depth behind it. Even back in the day, John Coltrane doing the society gigs and then turn around and do the bebop at night. But, you know, you just don't know who's really in that casual band or that show band.
Shele, the information, the knowledge, and the education you received at Berklee, obviously it came from your brains that absorbed it all. But can you actually put a price on the education that was bestowed on you by Berklee?
Well, I can put, in terms of putting a price, what it is there was such an ingrained into my life the concept of mentor-disciple. And, you know, I guess I was very much a seeking student. Even I go back to, as I told you, you know, early on with my brother and through bands and going to Winterland, I've always been that kind of seeking guy. But the mentor-disciple or having a teacher or having these kind of Mike Gibbs as an orchestrator or, oh, gosh, I can just go on and on. And the founder of this school, Lee Burke, who became a friend and a mentor and like a second father, really. He's not that old. He probably want me to say that. But, you know, the whole Burke family, getting into this mentor-disciple is an absolutely priceless, enduring quality that goes on, I've learned, throughout life because I'm very involved in that process now, both above and below. Above being a mentor to others as an artist in residence or producer in residence or creative mentor, many of the talent events we do, and below as to, for example, it's Friday. Tomorrow I'll have a chance to sit with a friend and mentor of mine, Benny Maupin, sax legend.
Never heard of him.
And,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
To ask Benny about time with Bill Evans or you know, Horace Silver or the Miles Davis Bitches Brew session or Herbie Tour, you know, so and ultimately we all have I think a spiritual path that we walk. You know, there are mentors in that realm. You know, Daisaku Ikeda, the president of our lay organization, our Buddhist organization, Soka Gakkai, is such a mentor. So the question is there a price tag or something that can be put on that valuable education? What it really is it's about mentor-disciple and about that seeking spirit and that energy and drive to constantly be learning, constantly be evolving, constantly be training, constantly be practicing. I think that's what keeps us as young as we are, right, Jackie?
Absolutely. And that's and I love it. I want the listeners out there to write that down: mentor, disciple, and then put the word next to that teacher. And I'm going to ask you a question because you brought that up, and I want your professional opinion on this, and Shele, because I am envious of you and my friends and my brothers and sisters from Berkeley. I don't read or write a stitch of music. I never have, and I definitely never will at this advanced age itself. It hasn't really hampered my career at all. It's like not having sight. You gain other senses that can definitely help you out here. But the question I wanted to ask you, and I tell a lot of the young kids out there, and the parents, and I want your professional opinion on this since you are the mentor disciple. I tell parents, do not force an instrument down your child's throat. Don't do it. I suggest they take them into a Sam Ash or a Guitar Center. Let them go and let the instrument call them.
That's great advice.
What is your opinion on that? Was it good advice, my friend?
Oh, I think it's fantastic advice. I mean, it's so intuitive and allowing someone. It's going to address a topic that we're going to talk about in our interview today that I'm very committed to, which is building success in your own lane, finding success in your own lane, because that's the only lane that really matters. And it's a large component of my Master Producer Artist in Residence platform and of our Youth Music Expo platform. The most important thing that we can do is to build and find success in our own lane. Because, I learned early on I'm not going to be Jimi Hendrix. I'm not going to be John McLaughlin. I'm not going to be George Benson. I can be Shele Sondheim. So what is it that's unique and phenomenal and individual and contributive that Shele Sondheim can bring to the project or the session or the gig or the life or the encouragement? And so I've been helping a lot of young people to gain their footing and to gain their confidence by understanding that you have to build success in your own lane. That's all that matters.
Would you equate that to the word, the adage, or the term called paying it forward?
Yeah, paying it forward. And the paying it forward can be a trick as well. You want to. It's very. I don't want to have anything paid forward by criminals and robbers and murderers and schemers and players. We're in the music industry, so there's a lot of an entertainment industry, and so agents and managers and lawyers and there are all kinds of possibilities to be led astray. Not having the knowledge, not having the access, not having the kind of tools and resources to pave your own path of success.
God, I want to take a shower right now. You just mentioned all those names. I just got really itchy, and that's that word, using the word music and business, how they should never ever share the same line. It is quite a disgusting consortium of a bunch of evil people out there. But let's put it let's put it to the positive side. You know what, Shele, can you believe this? Everybody out there listening, if you're having a great time like I am, and God bless it, why wouldn't you be? I am having a blast. We're coming out of the first hour out of a 2-hour interview with the ever informative and my best new friend, Mr. Shele Sondheim. So you guys, don't go anywhere. We're coming up on segment number 4, second hour on a 2-hour interview with Shele Sondheim. Guys, don't go anywhere. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. And Shele, I'm going to bring my friend on, your friend, Mr. Florentino Buenaventura, the CEO of our network, on the next segment, so he can join in and chop it up with us. Guys, don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss a thing. Stay tuned.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Al Di Meola, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Got to know more about that song in a second here. Guys, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by the Intertalk Radio Network. Segment number 4 in a 2-hour interview with this incredible gentleman, my new best friend, Mr. Shele Sondheim. Shele, you know, I'm gonna take one quick second here. You know, some of the things that you've said, well, most of the things that you said have kind of blown me out of the water, and I want to get back to a couple of things that just make all the sense in the world. I love this term, and I wrote it down: building success in your own lane. Mm-hmm. That to me, that's a prolific saying. And for the listeners that are just checking in itself, elaborate on that just a little bit more, my brother.
Oh, it'd be my pleasure. You know, it was actually advice that was given to me by an attorney friend, and because the talk was, look, I've got this material, I've got these goals, I want to meet Dallas Austin, I want to meet Jimmy Jam, I want to meet Terry Lewis, I want to meet, Ed Riley, I want to meet Ron Fair, I'm this, I'm that. And the lawyer friend, I'll just leave the name out, but probably one of the most influential in the entire world and industry, says to me, here's the challenge. You're your own thing. You have to really focus on creating success in your own lane, because you're really not like many people I've ever met. And that's not a bad thing. Because first when he said it to me, I was crushed. And then the smile happened for me when he said, but that's not a bad thing. And so he really got me thinking into like, well, I have to be concerned with my own thing. And this was a very, let's say, challenging time in my life when I was trying to find myself as going from session musician, touring musician on that side of the glass to wanting to be on the other side of the glass, producer, writer. How do I make that transition? Right. And what was happening for me, Jackie, was that I was submitting songs, and I'd get something to, Vanessa Williams, or I'd get something to a Celine Dion or whatever. And, my 9-minute Lava Lamp, A minor Santana jams, perfect hit, right? Mm-hmm. Well, nothing was getting bought. And I thought, wow, I really need to study this stuff. So I went deep into the shed for almost a decade. The 90s for me was all about doing demos and learning how to write songs and getting into writing lyrics and learning about hooks and learning about songwriting and studying the masters, Diane Warren and, Glenn Ballard and Strachan and Rogers and I mean, we can just go on and on about the teams that exist out there and what has come out of that in today's world. So, the difficult for me was to find clients, to find people who would buy my songs or buy my productions. And so I started to reach around the world. I thought there's got to be a Britney Spears and a Nickelback and a Christina Aguilera and a Beyonce in Netherlands, Belgium, and Amsterdam and Sweden. So I started going to all of the international music industry events, Meet 'em in the south of France, Popcom in Germany, the Amsterdam Dance Event, these sorts of things. And one client became 3, which became 5, which became 20, which became a couple hundred. And I can, proudly say that for the last 17 years, I've been building my career identity as a writer, producer, music business entrepreneur with a worldwide clientele. We just received a beautiful opportunity with a young girl from the Czech Republic, Katie K., who I hope is listening. I don't know what time it is. Let's see, it's 10 o'clock there. Maybe she's listening, maybe she's not. But we're going to be hosting her in Los Angeles, doing sessions at Clear Lake with my team, Jay and Eric. And we're doing 3 tracks. And so very, very grateful to have this opportunity to help artists and assist artists on their journey from all around the world. It's like people say, how did you come about this? And they just, how many times can you hear no on Sunset Boulevard? I mean, you have to reach around the world. And I've learned that the entire world is the playing field. So I don't know if that was the direct answer to your question, but it all has to come down to creating success in your own lane. And I realized, well, as anxious and enthusiastic and determined as I am to have a next Gaga track or a next Katy Perry track, and I'll continue to fight for these things, there's a Gaga and a Katy Perry waiting for me in Belgium, and I need to go find them, and we need to get to work.
And listen, people out there, listen for this man and what he's accomplished to date is quite amazing. You said something to me in the very beginning, the first segment, when I asked you if you ever grew up, and you said this great term, and I love this term, and so many people use this that are walking in our age shoes, is that we still are a work in progress.
Absolutely.
So with that said, let me ask you a question with that said. And I want to get back, and I want you to write this down. I want to get back to the first song, the song that we came on segment number 4 with. But when you say work in progress, I'm going to assume the fact that a work in progress, which means to me that you're not completely satisfied, nor have you fulfilled your bucket list. Elaborate?
Well, I would like to say that I am satisfied on a daily basis. That's a spiritual grounding that I want to wake up and feel the beauty of being alive and being healthy and being clear and just really having all of my faculties to go approach the day. And I want to rest at night knowing that I've absolutely done my best that day. And of course, there are areas to improve. But, I've gotten into yoga. I've got some wonderful yoga teachers. I go every night. It's a musical, spiritual, prayer, moving meditation thing. As I think I've shared with you, I've been a Buddhist for 35 years, chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo alongside of the SGI organization and a great group of creative folks, an International Committee of Artists for Peace, Herbie Hancock, Wayne Shorter, Patrick Duffy, Tina Turner, Benny Maupin, it goes on and on. So these kinds of things make me satisfied. Now, that's not talking about resting on laurels. That's not talking about being content with what's happened. I look toward the future, okay? All cause-oriented, making causes for the future. And so, work in progress, what I really mean to say is the very basic stuff that you and I are so familiar with, Jackie, and I hope that our audience and our listeners can further ingrain in their own lives. We've got to practice. We've got to study. We've got to read. We've got to analyze. We've got to look at the music business. We've got to stay up on the trends, stay up on the technology. It's a full day, and it takes all of the desire and the willingness to dig into that in order to stay relevant and to go to the trade shows and to do the global networking and to make the kind of friendships that count. And so that's what I really mean when I say a work in progress.
And our age also, too, and I'm going to use this term, and I've stolen it, so you can steal it also. I love the term that at our age, on certain levels of education, school's out. We should have already grasped what's going on. But again, too, every day you wake up is a new day of education, new day of learning. But it's that's in my opinion. But that's another show altogether. But I want to ask you a question, young man. And I said, young man.
I am a young man. I'm still a young man.
Still a young man, baby. Exactly. There you go. With that said, Shele, let's talk about that song, because I'm sitting here right now. That song was crazy, and it blows me out of the water, the players that are on that tune. Talk about that song we came on segment number 4 on the top of the set.
Okay, we took a little left turn there because it really was referring to the kind of manyfold skills that a music professional needs to have. I mean, I'm a fundamentally guitar player, and I like the funk and I like the the jazz stuff, but I can play the rock and had all the sounds and have all the axes. You have Terry Woolman as one of your stars who does his radio show. Terry plays all the axes. He was talking to Jamie Glaser, plays all the axes. Mm-hmm. You got to be prepared to, you come to the session and you're ready to do anything that's asked, okay? Or you go onto the gig, anything that's asked, all tunes, all keys, ready to perform and ready to deliver. So that particular track was called What You Do. And it was fun because it was a power trio with my very good friend, John Pena on bass. And, he's somebody that helped me to learn how to detune the strings and really get nasty on that really tough rock stuff. And so it was a little bit different clip. And we have something coming up, just a little ear candy for those that might be listening. We have some songs in the pop vein, and also we've gotten very deep into the electronic dance music remix. We've invented our own concept, again, success in our own lane, called West Coast Euro Remix. That's very popular. We get hired all around the world to do it, and there's some clips coming up about West Coast Euro. So that one particular track that you're talking about was me and a power trio. And I would love that. I would love to, go on tour with John Pena and who would you say, Chad Wackerman or Billy Cobham. Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, but and that's so cool because, and I want to just kind of stay in the genre. You talk about a power trio. I had the pleasure a couple weeks ago to interview Richie Kotzen, great guitarist itself, and he's actually, we're going to be doing a live interview with him in the San Diego studios this coming Wednesday, and that's Richie Kotzen is playing at a place called Brick by Brick. But again, an amazing, I don't know his bass player, but Mike Bennett is his drummer, and Richie's on guitar, and it's just ridiculous, And I want to thank somebody. I'm going to bring him on right now because he's a mutual friend of ours, the CEO of our network. And because of this man bringing me to the network, we knew it was going to be a no-brainer. It's the ability of just two brothers chopping it up. It's what you and I are doing right now. And so with that said, I just want to thank this gentleman coming on for trusting me and turning Jackie's Groove into the flagship of this network. So with that said, do me a favor, Shele. Say hi to Florentino. Florentino, would you please say hi to Mr. Sondheim?
Shele, what's going on, brother?
Hello, Florentino. Now, I've heard Jackie refer to you as Tino. Am I in the club? Can I call you Tino?
You are definitely in the club, man. So
there you go.
Call me Tino. You gotta keep that the Hollywood flavor. That's why I kept the Florentino. But all the folks listen. Yes, all my friends call me Tino or T.
I'm a friend, and I'll call you Tino. And I too want to thank you so very much, Tino. We first met last year on the Girls Talk Rock. The girls wanting to get a little bit of insight of the work that we're doing at the university level and the various industry events and our artist development stuff and the Youth Music Expo we spoke about. And you were so kind to sort of build that bridge of friendship. And I'm so very grateful that you brought me on to Jackie's Groove. And as I realize so many friends that we have together, it's a pleasure to see you grow this Intertalk Radio into the force that it is. Attracting musicians at the highest level, producers at the highest level, business people at the highest level who really have an interest to share their insights and to be part of your family. And I'm grateful to be one of them.
Well, hey, brother, thank you very much. In fact, I think you're the first artist that we met through the website. You sent us a note really expressing your appreciation, just like what you said. And, when I seen your name, I was like, oh, man, this cat's a player. Let me see if I can't reach out to him. And then we were able to reach out to you and brought you on. The Girls Talk Rock show was a perfect fit because there was a lot of stuff going on from the education side, and they were focused on that at the time. And now, we're bringing two brothers from the same, collective of yo cats that you guys have played with together. And that's it's kind of fun hearing, the commonality between the two of you, but meeting really for the first time on radio. So it's pretty special.
It's special for me too. It really is.
So
yeah, man. And I want to say this, too, and I say, Tino, that, when you told me about Shele, you gave me a plethora of information. I'm still in absolute utter awe trying to read up. That's why I had to bring you on, because I'm reading more about this. And as Shele and I said this, how we didn't cross paths or bump into me, and trust me, he and I next to each other at that time, him being a svelte young man, me being a 400-pound guy, we probably looked like the number 10 standing next to each other. So, we would have figured that out a long time ago. But Tino, talk more about what we do here at InterTalk and how InterTalk can benefit Shele and his organization.
Well, I think one of the key things that we were talking about Shele before we got into the show is that we really appreciate the education systems that are focusing on music. Berklee being a primary one for us. We've got a special heart. We've got 2 Berklee grads. We've got someone here that is also graduated from Berklee. That's a guest. We get a number of folks. Sometimes you never know. We've got coming up on Jackie's show here. I think on the 3rd of May. We've got Matt Cuson, who's also a Berklee guy. So it's heartwarming to see schools really promoting more than just learning scales and notes, but really learning the business. And I think we kind of have that in common, and that's one of the important things that's happening for us. Peter Gordon, great spirit. He's running the things West Coast for Berklee, and we're talking about some cool things with him. And obviously, that's all part of the stuff we can move with. And then, one of the things I think that's you're working on that most of the people kind of forget when they're here in the U.S. They're so focused on what can we do here in the U.S. that they forget that there is a world of 5.5 billion people out there that don't live in the U.S. Actually more than that, but I'm just kind of being generous to us. But basically, you've done a really amazing job at bridging that, and we are international. We're not just about what's going on here in the U.S. and the music scene here. Obviously, that's probably the leader in the world for the most part, at least with impressions in the market. You see the b-boys over in Korea, or you see the heavy metal folks over in like Belgium and stuff like that, and that kind of spawned, at least it was cultivated here in the U.S. and then of course all the blues stuff. But for the most part, you focused on an international stage, and I think that's kind of some things that we can do together. With that said, I want to ask this. What are some of the trends outside of our crazy ecosystem here in the U.S.? What's happening that we should know about internationally? Like you mentioned your Cali Euro mix,
West Coast Euro mix.
West Coast Euro mix. I'm sorry, I always think Cali is West Coast, but that's the hood rat in me. But we got about a minute left, though. I asked a long question without looking at the clock, but
and Tino, you're not going anywhere. I want you to hang out because that's very, very, very interesting that you're doing that. And can we get another hour out of Shele today? Make this a 3-hour one.
For our audience, I don't want to hurt the audience.
No, brother, the questions that we're getting right now, the board's lighting up. And so, with that said, you guys don't go anywhere because I'm in utter awe right now. I'm smiling. I'm actually smiling right now and having a good time. So, with that said, kids, don't go anywhere. This is Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, with my mentor, Mr. Florentino Buenaventura, or for those who are in the new, Tino Florentino Buenaventura, Mr. Shele Sondheim, the Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Talk Radio Network, coming out of 4, going into 5. Don't go anywhere, kids. You don't want to miss a thing. So much more in store. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Everybody, welcome back to segment number 5. Can you believe it? 5 out of a 2-hour interview with this amazing gentleman called Shele Sondheim.
Hi.
Shele, welcome back, brother. We're sitting here, and I'm scratching my head. I can't believe all the people that we know in general. And we've been talking about my dear friend. We talked about his young daughter when we used to both hold her as children, when she was a child, I should say. And you call him one of your best friends. I'm hard-pressed to say, man, I'm going to fight you for it, because this man is one of my best friends. Actually is a very, very close guy and a huge mentor to me, and definitely a huge inspiration in my career. And I'm bringing up Wilfredo Reyes Jr. I'm going to patronize him for a quick second. If I may just take a couple seconds out of your show. Wally is a mentor. He not only is he an amazing player, drummer / percussionist, with the likes of Steve Winwood, Santana during their heyday, if you will, and then most currently for the past 6 years on the percussion throne from a small group called Chicago, celebrating 50 years. So when you talk about Wally being your friend, I'm sorry, brother, I own that man. I own that title.
No, we all got to share, because even the band Fish wrote the song Walfredo. So
Phish, kids, absolutely.
Little piece of Wally. I mean, he's given so much to human development. He's given so much to music development. He's given so much to family development. He's a spiritual leader.
With that said, I'm sorry. We got a delay here, brother. I do apologize. I'm interrupting you, and my computer's bouncing everywhere. I'm sitting here right now smiling, and everything else. But instead of you telling me and the listeners how much you love Wally, why don't you go ahead and take a couple seconds and tell Wally how much you love him right now? Wally, are you there, brother? Hello, Wally.
Yes.
There you are, Wally. Say hi to Shele. Shele, say hi to Wally.
Colby Burger, bro. Let's have lunch together.
Yes. Way overdue.
Where are you? In Finland or Australia or Tokyo or Evansville, Indiana? Where are you?
No. I'm at my home in Valencia on my way to LAX, going to Arizona, Scottsdale.
It's so nice to hear your voice. I'm having a great time with Jackie. We're talking all about you, and we're talking about all the friends we know. and expressing the gratitude we have for you, Wally. You're everybody's leader. We love you so much. You travel safe, bro. Hope it's first class.
Well, same thing here. I'm grateful to have you guys in life, and our friendship, and you're a friend and a teacher and a reminder. To be disciplined, set your goals, and enjoy the journey. Right?
That's it, bro.
That's it. Now, Wally, you're with the listeners out there. You're on your way to Arizona with Chicago. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, I'm gonna do one show in Chicago. I played last night at the Big Potato with my band, and then
Wally World
drum channel. So I don't stop. I cannot sit still at home and watch Netflix.
It's all good.
That's not the way we do it. By the way, that Wally World CD, which is an amazing piece of work, the artwork for the CD was done by my wife.
Really?
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, Victoria.
Yeah, amazing artist, graphic artist, and the personality that this is the one thing that Victoria and Shele always, no matter what your situation is, there's always a peace and don't worry, it will happen. We'll make it happen. Don't worry. Just go for it. Enjoy the journey. Have fun while you pursue your goals. And that's something that is a magic thing that they have that I've always appreciated. And I'm very blessed to have two friends that have that and constantly remind me when I actually get hysterical and, oh, my God, I have a problem. It goes, Don't worry. Don't worry. It's okay.
And remember, Wally,
okay.
And Wally, remember what I've always said, like my mama said, Mama Bertoni always said, if it's not health related, it's all bullshit. And you know that as well as I do. And with that said, I want everybody to patronize this gentleman. Go on to WilfredoReyesJr.com and patronize this brother. I don't care what Shele says, but Wally likes me better anyway. So, and I'm going to stick with that. So, Wally, we're going to get back to the matters at hand. Thank you so much for surprising this brother, and I can't tell you how much I thank you. Say hi to the boys in the band. Safe travels, Godspeed, brother, and we will talk to you right around the corner. I promise you.
All love, Wally. Take care.
Love you, brother.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay, bye. Safe travels. And jumping back, surprise, brother. Welcome to Jackie's Groove. So
Jackie,
with that said,
was such a nice surprise, Tino. Thank you so much for bringing Wally online.
But I want to stick with it because I can do this all day long with you. But I want to stick to the song that we started at the top of the set. Very, very commercial itself, but that is I'm going to call it the groove version itself. But you also have a dance version of that song. Let's hear the dance version. Let's talk about the whole song itself. So with that say, Cedric, can you bring that up on momentarily? Here we go. Let me tell you, there's ravers worldwide rocking out right now. Let's talk about
I put a couple staples in my eyelids right then.
There you go, brother. Let's talk about the first version of that, and let's talk about the international version about it. Go ahead, it's your show. Take the mic.
Sure, it's my pleasure to share that. We're very, very proud of that, and from on a couple different levels. First of all, the lyric content, I owe it to you. What this song is really about is it's a mentor-disciple song. It's really expressing the gratitude and the appreciation that one has for another for lifting them up and bringing them up. And so, we do it in the context of a pop song, and it can be, lovers back and forth. It can be father and son, mother, daughter. It can be spiritual advisor. It can be teacher of the instruments. But that's what I Owe It to You is about. And it was actually a song I dedicated to Daisaku Ikeda. Now, that's my own personal story, but when it goes to an artist, they make it their own, and it can be about whatever they want it to be, And so this happened to be a track that we did with a boy duo from the Tbilisi, Republic of Georgia, called Too Cool. And that track was recorded in Phil Collins' studio in Geneva It was mixed in Manhattan with our fantastic friend Zupe and mastered at Sterling. Done at Cyber Sound. Some very, very amazing talents on that. On the pop version, always using programming and live musicians. That's my gig. I'm always using both. And so on the pop version, went to Nashville and had session player Michael Rhodes on bass and
amazing
some other
bass player
joining us at the highest level. And then on the West Coast Euro remix, my brother Jerry on bass. The bassist of the bassist, Jerry.
Absolutely. So and I never was a big EDM fan, but I'm starting to understand it.
I feel it's the new jazz because you can do so many, reharmonizations and so many, polyrhythmic things and so many just sounds upon sounds. And, and when you bring in the live players, it becomes an entirely other thing. It really does. So that's the makings of I Owe It to You. We had the pop smash, and then those boys, I just want to share with you, went on in their country to win The Voice and to win X Factor. So, again, an opportunity to develop, they aren't Backstreet Boy, they aren't One Direction, they haven't realized that level of commercial success. But in their world, again, back to their success, they are the national heroes.
And I was brought, us old guys, we have a mutual guy that's older than us. His name is John J.R. Robinson. And
the Berkeley guy.
Another Berkeley guy. And J.R. introduced me to an amazing artist that J.R. played drums on, again, EDM master by the name of DJ Cassidy. And,
of course.
an amazing song. So this is how I'm kind of opening my can of worms because, I'm going to ask you a question right now, brother. And I ask all my luminaries on the show that makes sense. But I think you already answered the question. My question to you is, I know what the answer is going to be. I'm going to ask it anyways. Do you get the music business of today or the lack thereof? Elaborate.
I think that I'm in the epicenter of the music business today at my level. There's the level of Simon Cowell and L.A. Reid, who I just finished his autobiography, Sing to Me, and Clive Davis, and your friend, as you talked about, Irving Azoff. There's the highest pinnacle of the music industry and music industry titans and people whom you can learn from and read about and be inspired by. And then there are all kinds of other music export offices in every single country. There are all kinds of sync and licensing and TV and film organizations. One that I'm very much part of called the Hollywood Music and Media Awards, founded by Brent Harvey. And he hosts a plate full of artists from all around the world who are competing with each other, submitting their materials, getting nominated by their peers and by industry figures for awards, networking within the network of the HMMA. There's a gala event every November at the Fonda Theater here in LA. So, there's so many layers of the music industry that you inquire about, Jackie. I feel that I'm very much in the epicenter of it because I go to all of the events, South by Southwest, Meet 'em, Berlin Music Week, Reeperbahn, Musexpo, ASCAP I was just at, either as a panelist or either as a speaker or either as a student, just going to learn the new trends, to network, to find out from the young programmers or the young tech guys or the young singers what they're into. So there's so many different areas of today's music industry, and streaming, of course, and YouTube and Spotify and, platforms that are just emerging as we're talking. So, I not only do I get it, I'm inspired by it, I'm motivated by it, I'm enthused by it because I'm of the thinking that it's the greatest time ever in music for an independent artist, for a self-motivated, self-directed talent to expose themselves and to share their gifts and to build an audience and to build their fans and to find a way to monetize their career. Because what's going to be for one is not going to be for another. A young person who is a brand ambassador for H&M is not going to be the same jazz aficionado that's going to be the brand ambassador for Cartier. Or, everybody's got their own lane. And by the way, just for a second, when I was talking about using the live musicians and programming on our productions, I was talking about Jerry, but it seemed like it clipped off, but I didn't know if you heard the last name Jerry Watts, who I'm sure you're also very familiar with. These kind of amazing musicians are the ones that contribute to our productions. So let me share that all of what's going on, not only in the creative area of my life and what we're doing, but in the business area and the networking and the event shows, it's all done with a team. There's a lot of people that come to assist, that are hired, that are colleagues, that come to help elevating the activities that we're involved in. And there's a lot of it on our site, www.csmwordsandmusic.com. There are videos, there are photos, there's a lot of information about the kinds of things we're doing around the world. Give that URL one more time slowly, my brother. Once again, it's Shele Sondheim, and our website is www.csmwordsandmusic.com. But you'll find a lot of information on that.
Perfect. And Tino, coming back on, I'm digging this song, man. I mean, what was your feeling on this tune, on both versions of it?
Oh, I loved both versions. I was actually jamming to it earlier before the show got going, and we were getting the tunes ready for it. And nothing from my age standpoint, but Shele, most people who are above that millennial mark can't really understand EDM, but you really got a tremendous handle on that. So that's a testament to you, because a lot of cats, they want to try to do the older stuff, the younger stuff, but we're so ingrained with the sounds that we've come up with that just creeps into the production. But to me, if I were to hear that and not know it was you, I would have thought it would be some 20-somethings that had a couple of Akais and had an
iPhone. They did it on their iPhone. Well, I think that the way to accomplish this, really, and the way to stay relevant is to show up at these events, Amsterdam Dance Event, Winter Music Conference, constantly be searching on the Pandora and the Spotify. Like one link leads to the other. I'm so influenced by what's going on in Las Vegas with these rooms, Steve Aoki and Cascade and, Armin van Buuren and Skrillex. And, we did this thing, Peace and Love Festival in Sweden, that we were part of as international advisors. And, Skrillex on the stage, that's almost like a life experience. That was exciting and innovative and penetrating enough, as if I was in a smoky dark club in the Village watching Benny Maupin with, Miles Davis or something,
Truth be told, Skrillex also, people don't know about him, he is a musician first and foremost before he was a DJ.
If you listen to the stuff with Cascade, who was one of my very favorites, or Chamberlain from the UK, or the Infected Mushroom, or Mo Sheik from Israel, or DJ Tala from Germany. This is the benefit of traveling around the world, because you meet these communities of people that are so deep into what they're doing, and they just cut open your head and pour in the business and pour in the creative. And you go wow, I didn't even know that Amsterdam was so deep on this EDM, or Germany, or Israel, or, I'm telling you, French electronica, forget it. That's a whole nother year of our life to just absorb.
Yeah.
Shele, you know what we're going to be pouring out of right now? We're going to be pouring out of segment number 5. How's that for a crappy segue? But nonetheless, we've got to reel it in, man. It's the last segment of a 2-hour interview that is blown by in 5 minutes.
So much fun.
And I want to ask you when we come back off the next break, and I ask all us great yo cats in the business regarding new music. I'm going to touch more on that. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, Talk Radio Network. My in-studio guest, Mr. Shele Sondheim, and Mr. Florence from the Winter Tour. Guys, don't go anywhere. Last segment, let's reel it in, my brothers.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on InterTalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on InterTalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on InterTalkRadio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Tony Lindsay, lead vocalist with Santana, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertone.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the last segment, second hour of a 2-hour interview with this amazing guest by the name of Shele Sondheim. Guys, this is Jackie Bertone, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by InterTalk Radio Network. Shele, you know, it's so cool, brother, back. Welcome back. You know, it's so funny when you're just talking on break. You know, I've had many, many years and many CDs, albums, if you will, with that bass player that was playing on that track by the name of Michael Rhodes, who is the session master in Nashville, along with Eddie Bears and along with Brent Mason, and these are all guys that we all have walked in the same footsteps. Absolutely, you know. And I want to ask you this. I'm gonna just do this because I'm more Jewish than you'll ever think of being. So I'm gonna throw some Jewish guilt without using my arms. The next conversation you and I have is I'm gonna say, "Hey Shele, I got the tracks, I got your WAV file, and I'm gonna import it into Pro Tools, and I will send you back some amazing percussion tracks." So that's what that's a dream for me, man, because I definitely want to be able to share some liner notes out there. And I use the word liner notes, and this is another crappy little segue, something that the millennials have lost. And hopefully will open their minds because, Shele, I can say for you, and I can say for me, and I can say for Florentino, there was nothing I miss more than Record Release Tuesday at Tower Records. To rifle through the bins, to open up a big square thing called an album, kiddies, 33 1/3, and that was the greatest sonic sound that you can get is out of a 33 1/3, and then
time jumpers right now.
Yeah, you know, and
players
and a lot of the streaming music that you can purchase via Amazon or iTunes, CD Baby, and the like. Now a lot of the artists and the labels are giving you a digital download of a thing called the liner notes to sit there and see the history behind the music. And so with that said, I have to ask you a question, because a lot of the guys agree with me, but I have to ask you this more because you are in the thick of it. You are in the mix of it. You do get what's going on there. But here's my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I tell a lot of the listeners out there, a lot of young guys and girls, that your longevity in this industry has a really short number on it, because I don't think you getting in front of a camera and singing your music on a thing called YouTube is going to give you anything that's going to keep you relevant over the years. I firmly believe that you've got to get beat up. You've got to get bruised. You've got to have the door slammed in your face. You've got to become a road dog. You've got to earn your due to really have the taste of the business. Am I out of line saying that, Shele?
I don't think so, Jackie, because you have a very deep, seasoned experience behind that remark. That isn't a crass remark. That isn't some type of a wise guy, armchair cowboy talking about an opinion. Look, you've had a career that absolutely describes what you've just shared. I think there are some books that, as I've been reading, for example, Tommy Mottola's book, and he talks about the star-making machinery of an idol or whatnot. Right. We've seen Jimmy Iovine or Clive Davis be involved and not be involved. We've seen, Simon Cowell or Randy Jackson or others. So I believe in the music industry, and you're strictly talking about creatives, and I want to talk about really the entire industry, because not everybody's Taylor Swift. There's 300 people working around Taylor Swift who are engineers, managers, labels, lawyers, Pro Tools engineers, mixing engineers, mastering people, touring people, lighting people. So there's a lot of careers to be addressing in your remark. And I think that, as in any business, making shoes, the guy in Italy, you have to pay your dues. You have to study. You have to dig in and really construct a solid foundation of which to launch from. And that continually gets constructed each time you come into a new area of learning. Like when MIDI came out, I went back to school and I learned what bits and bytes were. And, it was always with me with a band. And then I learned how to get together with one Swedish killer programmer and a singer, that turned into the other band. So, I think that because of technology and because of where we're at today, there's an easiness to say, oh, okay, I do a little fruity loop, or I do a little loop and the same loop as everybody else, and nothing's custom, and slap on a vocal and put it through vocoder and Melodyne, and we're done, and we created something cool, and it was really my dog barking. It's not even an artist, right. But somehow it made it. Some things just make it through. You can't help it. But I really believe that artistry and career building and sustaining activities for all of those paths that I talked about as well come from the woodshed. There's no other place. They come from the sweat and the commitment and the determination to renew each and every day, to build each and every day, and to learn how to function in the world in a harmonious and a positive and a contributive kind of way that you end up opening your doors. I had this wonderful opportunity to work with Phil Collins and his Little Dreams Foundation. It was because I was in the south of France, because I had sent myself by my own wherewithal to a large industry event and networked and got in front of people. And they certainly don't need my songs, but it was the ability to find my niche, and that is built through construction. So, I hear you loud and clear, and I agree with you because I have a similar experience. We're of the same age that we spent a lot of time paying dues, but I don't think that ever goes away. And I truly believe, because I'm in front of so many young people around the country and around the world, that they absolutely understand this. They absolutely know what you're saying and are absolutely willing and committed to do this. For the others, look, I hope they win the lottery. Good for them.
And Shele, can I ask you a question? Be right up front with me, and if you'd be so kind to answer this.
Sure.
Is Shele Sondheim satisfied with his career to date?
Well, as I said in an earlier phase of our interview, I'm very satisfied. I'm very content. I'm very balanced, and I'm very healthy. So in all regards, yes, yes, yes. And we'll include grateful and appreciative and communicative and determined, all of that. Yes, yes, yes. Now, does that have anything to do with the fact that when we get off the phone, I won't start hustling? I got work to do, baby. I got some calls to make.
It's called a mortgage, baby, and it's called living. And, and Shele,
I got some scales to practice. I got some
songs. You dig? I want to ask this question because I ask all the guys, because think about the company that you're involved in. You are now on the roster of Intertalk Radio and Jackie Bertoni's Jackie's Groove, in which I'll send you the link to our amazing interview in about 2-3 hours, maybe even longer, that our engineer's out. And you can, by all means, share it on your website. And so for the listeners worldwide. But I also wanted, I want to welcome you aboard, because you're sharing company like we did 2 weeks ago. We had the great Ann Wilson from Heart on. We were the last network, and we're very, very proud and sad. The last interview with Mr. Alwyn Lopez Giroux, Al Giroux, in my home. We did the interview here. And coming up, I've got this unknown guitar player by the name of Andy Summers coming up from the group, from the Police.
Yeah, and, he plays acoustic guitar, right?
Absolutely, and plays it well, backwards, upside down, and everything else. So, we're paying homage to Shele Sondheim, Jackie Bertoni, the Wilfredo Reyes, is the names below the marquee, so to speak. We don't get the well-deserving kudos, pat on the ass from the industry that we deserve. We are the responsible parties for the names above the marquee. And I thank you for sharing your story, which is just a speck in this 2 hours in a 40-year career. And Florentino, do you want to throw anything else? Can we just talk to Shele and see how we can get his name and his work out to the public more?
Well, I think we've done a pretty good job of
done a great job
peppering it through the interview. But are there any other URLs, Shele, that people should be aware of? I know that we've got your website and everything else, but do you have YouTube channels or any of that other fun stuff?
Sure. Let me make a couple respectful acknowledgments of some of the things that I'm involved in. First and foremost is the International Committee of Artists for Peace, icappeace.org. It's an organization that's chaired by Herbie Hancock and Wayne Shorter, something I've been involved in for several decades, and I'm one of the advisors on their advisory board, run by its Vice President Kei Yoshikawa. These are beautiful human beings with a tremendous purpose for artists all around the world. That's the International Committee of Artists for Peace. The second one that I'm involved in, I mentioned a little bit, is the HMMA, Hollywood Music and Media Awards, founded by Brent Harvey. You can look at the Hollywood Music and Media Awards. As far as the URLs, if you just type these things in or Google them in, you're going to find it. There's a wonderful talent competition that I've been doing each year with an organization called the World Championship of Performing Arts, a wonderful group of people founded by Griff O'Neill and his staff that's working with him very diligently to welcome artists all around the world, Gwen and Scotty and Judy and Nancy, and just great people. It happens in July in Long Beach. And, and of course our site, csmwordsandmusic.com. I think that you're going to find everything you may or may not want to discover about Shele Sondheim. If you Google the name, Stephen might come up, Bill might come up, maybe my dad will come up or my brother will come up. I'm not sure, but you can be certain I'm going to come up because we're working it hard to make sure that I do. So I believe that covers a short amount. I mean, I could spend the entire 2 hours speaking about mentors and folks who have put me on their shoulders to see the world from that angle. And all I can say is that if I haven't mentioned you, you know how much I love you and care about you, and that I'm so grateful to be in this music industry as a creative, as a business entrepreneur. And the last thing that I'd like to share is that we are promoting something that is a very, very wonderful creative mentoring program for youth to build and sustain careers in the music industry called the Youth Music Expo. We're talking to various nations, talking to various financial entrepreneurs, philanthropic only, to launch this program. It's wonderful. It's a little bit, I don't want to say under wraps, but we're continually evolving our platform so that when we do launch, we can really execute at the highest levels of the music industry. But it's a fantastic program, a lot of interest, and I see that as my next career move for the next decade is traveling with the Youth Music Expo all around the world.
Shele, let me ask you a question I think is actually a question brought up by my wife, and my interviewees love this question. And I want to ask this to you because this is so encompassing of your career. But if Shele Sondheim was not doing what he's doing in the music business in every aspect, what would Shele be doing?
Well, my wife says stand-up comedy, but, it's a lot of laughs around our house every day. What would Shele be doing? Shele would be encouraging others in some other way. It would be, whether it's through business or whether it's through service or whether it's through, other kind of work in a company, or my purpose would be the same, to encourage other people and to be of service to other people and to create that kind of life-to-life connection with other human beings while I have a chance to be a human being on this earth.
Perfect. Excellent. And of course, a lot of that. Yeah, I think so. I think it's so, because that came from your heart, brother. And I asked you about being satisfied. But does Shele Sondheim have a bucket list?
Shele Sondheim lives his bucket list. I mean, I don't mean to say that in any kind of arrogant or overreaching way, but I am the dream. People say you live in the dream. I'm doing my thing. I'm creating success in my own lane. Bucket list, sure. We see I'm having a pizza and it's got pepperoni and mushroom, and I look at yours and it's got green pepper on it as well. And I say, well, right, maybe I should have had that one. Sure, that stuff goes on all the time. But all in all, to be very candid with you, Jackie and Tino and our listening audience, I'm incredibly grateful for that which is existing now. Sure, my bucket list is to be able to wake up this healthy, this clear, this enthusiastic to hit tomorrow just as hard as I'm hitting it today. That's my bucket.
Amen. I mean, I'm just beside myself with joy today, brother, because this has been so educating to me, and it's, people sometimes look at me, they go, how come you can be such a great attitude and have such a great outlook? And I think to myself, you know what? That's really a stupid question. Because I say every day I wake up and I'm above ground, there's no dirt on me, I'm thankful. With having MS, people say, you have such a great outlook on life. I don't have nothing. We all have our crosses that we have to bear in life. Mm-hmm. And if I'm in a shitty mood, I stay away from people. Except my wife, she'll be the first one to tell you and argue with me on that. But the bottom line is, I'm thankful. I'm thankful everything that the good Lord above has blessed me with, and the things that I will be able to bless others with. And what I'm able to bless others with are in-studio guests like Shele Sondheim. You guys, do yourselves a favor and educate yourself on this man. I'm looking forward to our future together, brother. I mean,
Youth Music Expo. You got to be part
of it. I'm looking at, and please draw on Jackie Bertoni, draw on Intertalk Radio. We are here. We're all about promotion, brother. We're all about paying it forward. And what are we
making good causes?
We're doing it, man, because you know what? I know I'm going into heaven. I may not get the best seat, but I know I'm getting in. And
I've got one saying for you, Jackie, that assures what you're saying. Can I read this 2 lines to you?
Yes.
It goes like this. Just as flowers open up and bear fruit, just as the moon appears and invariably grows full, just as a lamp becomes brighter when oil is added, and just as plants and trees flourish with rain, so will human beings never fail to prosper when they make good causes. That's written by a very wise guy named Nichiren Daishonin, and that's the kind of causes you're talking about. You make very good causes with all of these people you're interviewing and all of this musical, music industry network that you're building, and you're encouraging lots of people who were tuned into this. I know that there were several hundred from my side that were looking forward to hearing your voice and listening to our interview. So all I can do is say thank you so very much for having me on your show. And I hope that we can do it again. And I can't wait till we're together face to face. I see crazy that we can't remember that we were. I know we were in the same place at the same time, but we just
Save a big hug for me, baby. Save a big hug. Hey guys, we got to say goodbye to Mr. Shele Sondheim. Shele, God bless you, my friend. Godspeed, and we will see you down the musical road. Everybody, Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network with this amazing interview, Mr. Shele Sondheim. Shele, God bless you, my friend, and peace through music.
Thank you.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.